everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we will be doing a deployment of FastAPI app using Docker, and it's important for data scientists because it won't be a simple app. We will be trying to predict class of a flower on iris data. Then we will create a model and we will deploy this model, and then we'll try to make some prediction. So moving on next, let me share with you the steps. So yes, the very first thing that we will be doing is training a model. We will be doing it in a notebook, and the workspace that I'm going to use is Lightning AI. Then we will save the model as a pickle file. Later on we will move to create a fast API app. So we will write the Python script and we will define certain methods over there so that the app is able to load the model and start making predictions. Then we will deploy the app using Docker, and after deployment we will try to test the app as well. So yes, let's get started. Opening the Lightning AI, so you can see my workspace. I will just create a new studio for this purpose. Okay, so it's starting up. It will take some time. Okay, yes, so we are inside our Lightning AI studio, and in this studio I guess most of the packages are already installed, so we can start writing our code. Okay, let me just disable it for now. Yes, so we are here. So we don't need main.py, so I am deleting it, and then let's try to create a new folder first of all, not inside the Lightning studio. So yes, in the root directory, and let's call it iris app. So inside iris app, we will create a notebook to train our model. So we'll say training.pynb, then we'll have the notebook. Yes, so we are inside our notebook now, and as I mentioned earlier, so we will be creating a model to train on iris data. So the data set is available in sklearn dataset, so we'll import it from there. sklearn.datasets, import load iris. And what else we need? We will need a model, so we will be considering RandomForest classifier for this problem. So let's import that as well, ensemble, import RandomForest classifier. Since we are going to train our model, we also want to do a train test split, and let's import those module as well. So we will import from model selection, import train test split. So yes, okay, apart from this, we will also write our, like, once the model is trained, we will try to save it as a pickle file so that it can be imported in our app to make the prediction. So we will need a library for that, and let's import jobly. So let's try to run. Okay, so good to go. Now let's try to load our data. So we'll just call the function load iris, and then I will create an x and y. So this is this and target. So yeah, okay, so let's try to see how x looks like. So yeah, we have array of 4 float numbers in a list. So these are the parameters on which we are going to make prediction of class of flower. and then on y we are having classes, so 0 1 2, and okay, there are three classes, so they basically there are three classes in this data. Okay, we are good with this till now. Let's try to split our data into train and test. So we will write this and we'll pass x and y, taking a test size of, let's say, 2. Yeah, so only 20% we are taking as a test size, and then we pass random state equals to 42. So it will create the training and test set out of the main data. And now let's quickly see. Yes, we do have the x train and other variables now. So now we just need to train our model. So for that we will create an object of RandomForest. Classifier. We are not going to define more parameters over here. We will be using the default parameters, and once we have this, we will try to fit on our trained data. Okay, let's try to run this. Yes, so our model has been fit. Let's try to see what is the accuracy that we are getting. So rf, we can use this function from RandomForest classifier object, and we will test, we will try to see what kind of accuracy we are getting on our test set. So yes, okay, so accuracy is there. Okay, let me just also print it. Okay, accuracy on test, and then we'll say accuracy. Okay, so it's 100% accuracy. Here we are not concerned about the accuracy or other parameter or metric of the model right now. What we are trying to do over here is just to create a model, simple model, and then save it, and then try to deploy that model in our using our FastAPI app. So that's the whole purpose. So like whatever accuracy we are getting, it's fine. Let's just move ahead. So we have the model now. What we are going to do is to save the model. So we will use the job lib to do the same, and we will pass the variable of the model, and then when we will also define like where do we want to save it. So I will just save it in the root directory, like in the current directory only, and I will call it model.pickle. That's it. So okay, so you have model.pickle file now. So this is our trained model or fitted model. So training part is complete. So basically in this case, if I show you, so we are it's taking some time. Okay, so in this step the training and as well as the saving part is complete. Now we can move ahead to create our FastAPI app. Okay, so for that what I am going to do, in the same folder, we will use the same folder. We don't want to complicate things for now, so we'll create another file and let's call it server.py. Okay, so we have server.py. so this will be our FastAPI app, where we will be defining where we will be importing the FastAPI, and then we will be defining the methods or function which will be called in app, and then how this model will be loaded and predictions will be made. So let's start with the very first thing, importing FastAPI. So we'll import it from FastAPI. Okay, let me first check, do we have FastAPI installed? So let me try to run it. Okay, so yes, we do have FastAPI installed. Now from this, since we have our trained model available with us, so we will try to import a model using job lib. Then we also need numpy. And why do we need it? Because when we pass the input from our app, then we will need to reshape the input, and for that we will need the numpy. So yes, The very first thing, let's load our model, and we will use joblib dot load. And where do we have our model? It is in in the same directory, so let's just call model dot pickle. Okay, so this is the model that we will be loading. Now we will create an app, fast API. So this will be an object. After this, we will need to define how this app behave. So what do we want to do when we hit the home page of the app? So let's say that when we go to the home page, which is the root, then what needs to be done? So we'll just say read root. We will create a function, and then we will say what do we want to show over there. So let's just keep it very simple. We will just show a message which says hello world. Simple as that. Okay, we don't want anything else for now. So this is, so when you land on the home page, it is going to show you hello world. And if you are able to see hello world, that means your app is up and running. We are in good shape. Okay, then let's define our predict function. So if you want to make any prediction, so we'll need to tell app, okay, it has to go through this particular function, and this is how it will be taking data, and this is how it will be returning the output. So let's define app.post. So we use post because we will be sending some data to our application, therefore it is app.post. Now inside this we will have to define our method, so it will be a predict method. Now once we hit this page on our app, like /predict, so what our app is going to do? So for that we will need to define a function. So it will be taking data which will be in form of a dictionary, and then what it needs to do, it needs to make a prediction, right? So first of all, what kind of data we are expecting? We are expecting a dictionary where we will be passing the parameters of a particular flower. So let's just call it features, and it will be an numpy array, and from data it will take features and then reshape it in the required format, like required format by our model, so that it can make prediction. Okay, so this is our features. So we will be able to get features from the JSON or the data being passed to our app. Once we have features, the next step is to make prediction. So prediction we can define, so model.predict, and here we will pass our features. Okay, later on, since the prediction will be in class number, it could be 0, class 1 or 2 as we saw in the initial data, but we actually need the class name. So we will also define a variable, let's say class name, and we have to take the prediction from class name. Okay, so we will need to define a class name as well. We will do it in I think on top, but for now let's just try to return the prediction. So we'll return that prediction is, and then we'll say whatever the class name that we are getting. So it is class, it should be class names over here. Okay, so now we will define certain class names over here, and okay, let's just do it here, class names, and it will be an numpy array of 3 classes of which are there in our data. So it will be Setosa, okay, then I see color, and Jenica. So we do have this over here now. So let's just try to run it and see if the code is okay. No such file as pickle. We are running it over here, and file not found. So let me just see. can we just try now? It still says okay. So let's see iris app, and then we'll try to run. Okay, now it's working. So we are good till here. Now we have the server.py. Now what we need to do, we also need to create a Docker file so that we can containerize it and run it on Docker. So let's just define a simple file which is Docker file. So we'll just say Docker file, and here we will need to define different steps that we want to happen once when we are building a Docker image. So very first thing, so we take the image from Python 3011. So we are downloading an image from image of Python 3.11. Then we also need to set our work directory, and we say this is code. Now okay, I have not defined any requirement.txt because when we load our image Python 3.11, by default certain modules or library won't be installed over there. So we will need to tell Docker to install these files. So let me just create a requirements.txt where we will define okay, these all modules needs to be installed. So first thing is FastAPI, then we will need NumPy, then okay, there is another module, but we will discuss it once we are writing the Docker file. Then scikit-learn, and we need joblib and pandas. So pandas we are not using, so but let's just install it. Okay, so we have the requirement file now. So now very first thing, we are downloading a Python 3.11 image, and after that we are setting our work directory to code. And now what we need to do, we need to take these files, all of these files, to that particular location. So first let's copy the requirement file. So requirements.txt, and copy it to code requirements.txt. So we are copying this particular file into Docker image or Docker location, and then we are copying into this particular location. Now once this is done, we will need to install all the packages. So we will do pip install and no cache directory, then we will read the file, and since we have the file there, now we will just pass this thing over here. Okay, so that means it is going to install all the modules. Now we also need to copy all other things, so whatever is available in this iris app folder, and we will copy it to code app. So we are copying everything to code app. Once that is done, we will expose a port so that we can interact with our application, and we are using 8080 port. So it will tell okay, this port is now available, and once this is done, we will need to run our server over there, and for that I'm going to use uvcon. So let me pass parameters over here. So we are going to run uvcon, and that is going to run app server. That particular is the folder name because we have copied everything in there, and this is the server. So server is the server.py, so that will be server, and we are just calling it app. So this will be this, and then we will need to pass host, and we will run it in localhost. So we will just pass 0.0. Okay, so this is fine, and then we will also define a port, and this port is 8080. So this is this is fine. Okay, so we are done with the Docker file now, and we can save it. But one thing that you might have noticed is that we are copying everything into code app, but even the server file we are saying iris model. So this particular folder won't be there. So we will just write whatever folder name will be, it will be app. So inside app we will find the model.pickle file. So let's try to do it. Okay, so I guess everything is done now. Let's try to create image. So okay, first let's check whether we are having any images. So okay, there is no images currently available. Okay, now we will try to build our first image, this, and then we will say this is iris model and everything inside the current working directory. Okay, so you can see it started with downloading the image Python. Now okay, and soon after this it will also install our requirement, like whatever the modules libraries we have passed that needs to be installed. So from pip install, okay, so yeah, so inside now this is our second code, work directory code, copying the file, and now it is doing a pip install. And since it copied the file from this requirements txt to code requirement txt, it was able to run this particular command of pip install. So let's just wait for it. Okay, so this is done. Let's see, do we have this particular image now? Okay, so we can see yes, iris model image is available now. So this is good. Okay, now we will need to create a container, or we will run this image inside a container. And to do so we will use docker, and then here it should be run, and then it should be my container name, or it should be not run, it should be docker run, then it should be name over here, and then we'll say, let's say c1 is the container name, and we will also need to define okay on which port. So this is the port, and then we will tell which particular image we want to do. Okay, so there is unable to find. Okay, maybe there is something wrong here. It should be okay, let me check quickly. Okay, what is happening over here? So we are here. Okay, this is fine. We need to pass container. Okay, I guess I'm missing something. So it should say docker run and then container name. Okay, I guess it should be the port over here which is missing. Before this we need to say this is port, and now docker run, then we define the name and then the ports and then the image name. Let's try to run it now. Okay, so you can see the server has started, it is running on this particular location. And how do I access it now? So since I'm inside the lightning AI, I cannot just click on this and see, it won't work, right? Or if I copy it also. Okay, okay, let's I know it won't work, but okay, let's do something. So in lightning AI we have a port viewer, so let me install this port viewer. Okay, we have the port viewer now. Inside this we'll say iris app, and the port is 8080. So we have this. Now we will try to open it. Okay, so it's not working. Yes, it's working. So you can see when we landed on the root directory, it says hello world, and this is something we defined in our server.py file. Now if I pass the predict, so you will get an error method not allowed, because with predict it won't run like this. We will need to pass certain data which will be in features, and then there has to be certain data in a list. So how can we, so we can use certain applications like postman, and then we can pass those data in this particular predict function. But for now there is a, how we can check if our app is really working, because FastAPI provide this docs, and here we are. So if we pass docs, then we are inside the FastAPI interface, and it will tell us, okay, these are the certain methods that you are having. And inside predict, so okay, this is something that we can know, okay, this is how the predict function is, this kind of data it will take. So currently you can, there is no definition over here, but inside our function if we pass the definition, okay, like this is how the data has to be passed, then you will be able to see that definition over here. So but for now, just let's say try, and we defined it, it will be taking features, and it should be in a format of list. So let's just 1 2 3 and 4 and try to execute it. Okay, so yes, the output is correct, but okay, it is getting two output. Prediction is Virginica, but yeah, so ultimately our purpose is solved. We do have the prediction. Now let me just try with certain some other values. So 4 and let's just say 5. Okay, do, okay, let me also change this 0.5. Yes, so the prediction has been changed, so that means our model is up, it's running perfectly fine, and whatever data we are passing, then we are able to see the result. Now if you have the postman installed, then you can pass these parameters, this value from there, and then you can interact with the model. So currently our app is running over there on our on in Docker right now, and this is it. Like later on, you can also define more and more methods over here if you want to do prediction, and inside this, I guess it's okay. So inside this, what we actually did, we loaded the model directly from the location, so it is inside the same folder, but it is not necessary that our model is available there. So when you are working on production or deployment of the machine learning models, so it won't be the case that you have your models ready in the same root directory. Or maybe you might be taking it from some other location, you might be using a S3 bucket. So here, instead of loading it from the root directory, you can make a connection to S3 and then load it from there. Or maybe you can also load a model from your blob containers. So it's up to you, like from where you want to load your models, and this is how you want to run it. In case you are working on, you are deploying model using MLflow, so you can also load a model from MLflow artifact. So there are different ways to do it, but ultimately, once the model is loaded and you want to make prediction, you will need to define certain methods for FastAPI, so that your application can interact with your model, and you will be able to get prediction. So this was all for the today's video, and here we saw that how we can create a very simple model and then save it, and then we created a app, and then we deployed it using a Docker, and ultimately we also tested our app whether it is working or not. So that was all for today's video. Thank you so much.